Welcome in. I am going live today to give you my free workshop called Dream Life Activated. Now, the point of this workshop is to really rediscover or reactivate that passion, that desire that sometimes we lose when the world tells us who we should be or who we ought to be, who we can be. Those limiting beliefs, those emotional blocks sometimes get in the way of us actually becoming who we were always meant to be, okay? So if you are here live, welcome. If not, definitely feel free to find a nice space for you to actually go through this workshop at a time where you can focus, okay? So I just want to encourage some engagement. If you are in here, definitely, ask me some questions, say hello, all the things, okay? I would love to get to know you guys. Also, if you have any work that you want to do after, any inner work practices that you want to continue after this workshop is done, definitely check out the description. I have a lot of free offers, workshops, and things that you can do to continue this journey so that it doesn't just fall flat after the workshop is over, okay? So again, get comfortable. If you can, of course, limit distractions. If not, always feel free to come back to this video at a time that you can actually focus on doing the inner work practices here, okay? Also, if you can, get a pen, a paper, grab your journal. I will be giving you some journaling prompts, okay, to work through. So if you can't do them now, I know there's limited time during a live. Write the questions down so that you can journal and reflect on these later, okay? Very important for discovering any limiting beliefs and reframing them. All right. And last, I just want to give a disclaimer. If you have any big T trauma, okay, we're not addressing that right now. This is not the place to address. So if you feel uncomfortable or if you feel some very touchy things are coming up for you, feel free to just take a pause, okay? So I guess a little bit about me, all right? So my name is Candace. I am the owner and creator of Sacred Feminine Flow. I pretty much help women who have PMDD to find natural solutions to their symptoms to be able to live a life that's more fulfilling without feeling overwhelmed or having to live by strict routines. I also help women connect to their feminine energy and their inner wisdom, again, to live a fulfilling life of purpose, okay? So we're going to just kind of dive in. Welcome in, guys. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming in here. Thank you for liking the live. Hello. Hi. Hi, Chloe. So we're going to kind of just dive in. But before we talk about desire and change and, you know, making this big shift in our life, oh, I got a little lipstick on my teeth. That's live for you, okay? Most of us, especially as women, men too, sorry, men, this live is a little bit for the ladies, okay? That's who I focus on. But men, you can actually benefit from this live as well too, okay? Most of us, we live from the neck up. We live in our masculine energy, okay? We're always thinking like, what can we do? How, planning, doing, and rarely as women do we come back to our bodies, do we bring our desire back into the body and listen. Is this actually the direction that I should be going? Is this actually my life's purpose? Because for me, back in the day, you guys, let me tell you, I was trying to do anything just to like make some money or feel like I was living a fulfilling life, like I was doing something important, but when you are just trying to do, and it's not actually your purpose, yeah, you might make some money off of it. You might even be successful at it. But is that your life's purpose? Do you give back? Is it fulfilling? Okay. So that is why I created this course, to bring you back to that true inner desire. All right. So before we get started though, let's do a quick grounding practice. All right. So if you can, I know this is live, this is random. If you're in a space where you can actually do this, let's get started. Okay, so how we're going to start this is we are going to gently start to rub our palms together. Allow that energy, that warmth to really build up here between the palms. Okay, do a little breathing here. And go ahead and slowly bring your palms apart, only an inch or so. And you can actually you can feel the energy there, right? You can feel the energy between your palms. Now, if you feel called to, wherever you feel called to place your hands, I'm going to place one hand over my heart, one hand on my womb space right below the belly button, okay? And here, I want you to take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, okay? And now, if you were paying attention to your body, where did that breath stop? Okay, and this is important. Did the breath stop in the throat? Did it stop in your chest? Or were you able to get a big, deep belly breath and it stopped at your belly or even lower in the womb space? Okay, now taking that into account, we are going to do 3 more breaths, but I'm going to allow you to do these on your own. Do a count of 4 in through the nose, hold for 2, and out for 6 through the mouth. Now, why this is important is when we exhale longer than when we inhale, that actually triggers our parasympathetic nervous system to kick in. This is our rest and digest, okay? So this will actually take you out of survival mode and calm your nervous system, okay? So let's do our breaths, hand over heart, hand over womb, wherever you feel called, and let's begin. And as you do your breaths, I just want to remind you that you are safe. You are safe to express yourself here. You are in a safe place. You are safe in your body. Okay, so just allow that here. So if you are done with your breaths here, now just feel within your body. Do you feel more relaxed? What's coming up? What kind of thoughts are coming up in your mind, okay? Do you actually feel calmer by doing these deep breaths? All right. Now that is literally the minimum step of connecting to your inner wisdom and your intuition. Literally just slowing down, just stopping, just breathing and literally feeling into your body. Okay, good. You feel like you've decompressed. Okay. Yes, because sometimes it doesn't feel that way right away, but we have to keep doing these things, okay, guys? And then over time, that is what actually trains the nervous system. And the more you do it, you tone your vagus nerve. So that means it'll be easier and quicker for you to come from a heightened state to a calm state, all right? So let's get into a little bit of teachings now that we're kind of calm. Javon feels like he or she has decompressed. I don't see a picture there, so I will just call you by your name. But let's put it this way, like when we think about pain or when we think about changing ourselves and having a better life, most of us aren't necessarily trying to fix ourselves, but we're trying to avoid uncomfortable emotions, all right? That is literally the point of what our brain does. It wants to have us be comfortable. It wants us to be in the familiar, even if we don't like our current life circumstances, our brain wants us to stay in what we know because that is safety to the brain, okay? But when we avoid emotions and we're like, I don't want to feel pain, I don't want to feel anger, and we look at certain emotions as bad or undesirable, we push those down into the body. Now, if you've ever read The Body Keeps the Score, or you know about somatic practices, this is scientifically proven that emotions will get stored in the body, okay? Because an emotion is not just a feeling that we feel. It actually releases neurotransmitters, biological chemicals, hormones into the body. And when we don't allow ourselves to feel and process through these emotions, they'll get stuck, all right? And especially as women, these emotions can get stuck in the womb. Men, your emotions get stuck in your body as well too, okay? So let's talk about how the body actually speaks to us, okay? Now, when we really think about this, the body, when you're hungry, you don't necessarily have to think. Like, you don't have to put effort into knowing if you're hungry. Your body's just like, girl, I'm hungry, let's eat, you know? Or when you're tired, your body will be like, okay, I'm sleepy. You'll feel sleepy, okay? So your body speaks to you through so many different ways. And as women, knowing about your menstrual cycle, a lot of my work is centered around the menstrual cycle, okay? Because this is actually considered our fifth vital sign, along with breathing, heart rate, and all this stuff. So if your menstrual cycle is off, heavy bleeding, you have pain, you have all these things going on, that is a sign. That is your body speaking to you, okay? Other ways our body speaks to us that we must listen to is through symptoms, okay? Signs and symptoms. Because a lot of times, especially nowadays, we just want to take a medication, a pain suppressant, okay? Or something that's just going to cover up the symptom, but it doesn't treat the root cause. And the same thing with physical symptoms is the same with emotional and energetic symptoms. If we push them down, we try not to feel them, we try not to work with them, they will still be there under the surface. And the minute you take the Band-Aid off, all you're going to see is that this has festered, okay? Yes, thank you, Javon. I appreciate that. So we want to deal with these things at the root, all right? If you want to do deeper inner work around this, I actually have free journaling prompts that you can go through. Just check out, you know, the description or whatever, okay? And these are free. That'll help you uncover these limited beliefs, emotional blocks, and get through that stuff, okay? Now, speaking about the menstrual cycle, men, the way you can use this, you can still listen to your body, but I'm sorry, I can't really help y'all as much because I'm a woman. I know about being a woman. As women, especially if you are of reproductive age, that means you have a menstrual cycle, your body's going to go in cycles and flows. You have to be able to listen to your body to know when I need rest, okay? Sometimes we try to push through, we try to fight through when we're not biologically primed to be doing the thing that we want to do, okay? And I will say this. I think I teach this down in there, but it's kind of coming to me now, so I'm going to just say it now, okay? If your intuition is off, if the connection to your body is off, it's going to be hard to really connect and listen to your body because it's going to be giving you signals that might not be the best for you, okay? So, for example, if you are eating unhealthy foods, if you are not moving your body, if you are not spending time alone in silence and prayer or meditation or something of that nature, it's pretty much like a radio signal. Your signal's gonna be off, okay? That's just like piling up dirt over your plant when you're eating bad foods, when you're, doing all these things that make that voice smaller, okay? Your inner voice smaller. All right. So we talked about how our body speaks to us. Oh, I did. I kind of skipped ahead. Okay. How you can attract your desires with food. Okay. So that's what I was talking about here. It actually raises your vibration. If you're eating dead foods, processed foods, foods with no nutritional value, that will lower your vibration, lower your aura, and therefore you're not going to attract your desires. Okay. You're not going to attract your dream life, because your aura is dampened. You're out of alignment, okay? And that doesn't mean be perfect and you have to just eat perfect all the time. But it does, I promise you, it will impact how you show up in the world, okay? You need energy in the body to achieve things. So that includes food, movement, and sound. We all know about sound healing, how the frequencies actually impact us, okay? So what you're putting in your body is going to impact how you show up in the world and what you attract into your life. All right. So if you're listening to bad music, you're following horrible social media accounts and stuff like that, you're eating bad food, you're not working out, you just not doing nothing that you're supposed to be doing, most likely you're not going to be attracting your dream life and activating your desires, okay? Let's see. Now, let's talk about the mind. We talked a lot about the body. Let's get a little bit into the mind, okay? There is this law called the law of sustainment, and that says that you cannot sustain actions that directly conflict with the way you see yourself. So that is your identity, okay? So if you see yourself as lazy, stupid, and you have all these negative thoughts about yourself consciously or subconsciously, it's going to be very difficult to keep up with habits and life changes that conflict with that. So a lazy person doesn't get up and work out and do all these things. A dumb person doesn't know how to figure out steps forward and take action anyway, okay? So when you have these beliefs about yourself that directly conflict with the habits and the things that you want to change, it's not going to stick. It's like two opposite ends of the magnet trying to come together. That is why the identity shift is 100% necessary, okay? You have to. Your nervous system will always protect the identity it knows. We kind of talked about this already, okay? So that is why you got to change the identity so that the nervous system won't try to bring you back to the old one, which is so annoying. Trust me, okay? So here's a couple questions, all right? Let's really think about this for ourselves. First question, who do you believe you're allowed to be? Okay? What version of you feels too much or unrealistic? Now that could be to anybody's standards, okay? What part of you feels like too much or unrealistic? All right, so now the last point that we're coming to for the mind portion of this teaching is about feelings, okay? Now we all know if we don't feel like doing something, 8 times out of 10, you probably ain't gonna do it, okay? Feelings are the fuel for action. So we got to really think about ways that, one, we can make doing the things that we don't want to do more desirable. Also creating ease. How can we make it easier? All right, so if you have to drive an hour to the gym and take the bus and do all these things, of course you're not going to do it. All right, try to find a way to make these things easier, more accessible, and more enjoyable. All right, next, soul. Okay, so with my work, I address these 3 areas: the mind, body, and the soul. And the soul can be anything. It can be the spiritual or energetic part of you, regardless of if you're Christian, Muslim, New Age, whatever. Energy is real. We're all living, so we have some type of soul or spirit here, okay? So all 3 of these have to be aligned if you want to see true transformation in your life. If one of these is off, you're not fully in alignment, okay? So we got to work on mind, body, and our energy and soul, all right? Yes, exactly, okay? So let's talk about feminine energy. Javon, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for being here, but it's good for you to be here as well because I'm sure maybe you got a wife, a girlfriend, a daughter, a sister, a mom, okay? So you're learning a little bit of the tea, okay? So feminine energy. Feminine energy is play. It's fun. Yes, thank you so much. Play connects you to your desires, okay? So if you're always strict, if you're always trying to do, you're in your masculine energy, okay? One of my creators that I love to watch, she describes it as an egg, okay? So masculine energy is the shell. It protects, it provides structure, it holds things together, provides direction, okay? And the substance on the inside is the feminine energy. It's flowing, it provides sustenance, okay? So without the masculine energy, bleh, you're just a blob on the ground, okay? But without feminine energy, you're just a hard, empty shell. So we have both, okay? Men have feminine and masculine energy. Women have feminine and masculine energy. Hi, Star. Welcome in. So, as men as well, men too need to connect to their feminine energy. That is that creative flow that we get. So, if you have time, find something that you like to do that feels like play to you, that's not so hardcore. You got to work, you got to hustle, hustle, hustle. You will notice when you spend time caring for yourself, playing and enjoying life, you will feel more creative. And that is what activates your desires as well, okay? It's also how your nervous system knows it's safe. Because obviously, if you're playing, your nervous system's like, okay, she's cool. We're not stressing out. We're not hustling, you know. But when you're constantly in hustle mode nonstop, that will put your nervous system into overdrive. You got to chill sometimes, okay? But I don't have any. Well, you can still activate your feminine energy. You don't need a woman in your life to activate that. You want to practice it now too, so that when that woman does come into your life, you're able to tap into it a little bit, okay? But women, we love men in their masculine energy most of the time. But sometimes we need you in your feminine too, okay? I talked about this a little bit, okay? So, related to romanticize your life. Guys, this is, you got one life that I know of that you're going to live. Make it a good one. Okay? Do little things here that make things that might not be top on your fun list, but make it more fun, make it more beautiful, romanticize it, okay? So, that's just pretty much refusing to live numb. Because when we're robotic, wake up, go to school, do this, do that, then it's just like life is boring. Throw a little spice in there, okay? Romanticize, zhuzh it up a little bit. Okay, this will actually activate your desires because you feel more passionate, you feel more alive and zest for life, okay? Yes, a little spice, okay? Okay, this is a good one. This can be for anyone. Where are you giving your feminine or sensual energy to? Okay? Are you pouring everything into a man? Are you pouring everything into your kids? Yes, I'm a mother. You got to pour a lot into kids, okay? But you also have to pour your creative energy, your life force womb energy into your creativity, your projects, your desires, because if like we all know you can't pour from an empty cup. So if you're pouring into everything and everyone and you're neglecting yourself, you're neglecting your desires, you're not really going to reach your dream life. You're going to look back and realize that you took care of everybody, but you neglected yourself, okay? So, as men as well, you guys need to also, where are you putting your sensual energy? Are you just bopping around to every woman, letting that life force out into everybody, okay? Or are you conserving some of that life force energy to put towards your goals, okay? So here's a couple more journaling prompts for you guys, okay? Go back to these on your own and really think about it. Really dig deep here, okay? Where is your creative energy being consumed instead of created? All right. So are these things pouring back into you is the real question. Wherever you're giving your life force energy, are you getting anything back, or is it just consuming, consuming, consuming? All right. A second one, what drains you? but feels normal now. It's like, oh, well, this is just what I got to do. It can be a job, something you feel like you have to do. Obviously, you got to pay the bills. You got to put food on the table, but it's draining you. Okay? Anything that you feel could be a relationship, whatever it may be, okay? Now, so we talked about this a little already, so I'm going to ignore. I talked about create more pleasure than pain around the thing that you have to do, because our brain doesn't necessarily fight change, but it doesn't want to be punished, okay? So if something feels like pain and like your brain's going to be like, no, please, I don't want to do that. It feels like punishment, okay? Now this is something I learned from Myron Golden. I love him. I watch him all the time. Okay, check him out. He talks about be, do, have. A lot of the times we want to just think we can do something so we can have the thing that we want. But in reality, we have to fall in love with the becoming. Who am I becoming on this journey? Who can I look back and say, yes, I have become the person that I want to be. I've made these changes, these mindset shifts, these emotional shifts. Because if you focus on the becoming more than the having, a lot of us, we focus on what we're going to get out of it, what we're going to have at the end of it. And we're not focused on truly transforming ourselves, because when you do that, it's inevitable that you're going to get the thing, you're going to get the desire, because you are so focused on becoming the type of person who can do the thing and have the thing. So once you get it, you don't self-sabotage and then it was all for nothing. Because if you're still the same person who was broke, having toxic relationships, and you didn't work on who you were on the inside, say you get that dream job or career or business, or you get that dream partner, you haven't worked on who you're becoming, so you're going to lose it. You're going to still be in the mindset, the nervous system of that person who was broke in toxic relationships, okay? All right, and if you guys have any questions or anything, definitely save them to the end. I want to talk to you guys at the end of this too. I may have to change myself. Change the type of, yes, yes, exactly. Changing the people you surround yourself with. That is kind of what I was talking about when I talked about your input, okay? So we all know that you become the people you hang around, all right? And if these people are sucking your energy dry, you're not going to have any more life force energy at the end of the day to actually pour into yourself, your goals, and the things that you care about, okay? So are they just consuming your energy, or are they pouring back into you? All right. Okay, now we're almost done here with the teachings. We're going to get into a little more actual inner work practices after this, but it's important to lay these foundations so that you guys know why we're doing this inner work. Why this is science, okay? I love faith and, believing and all this stuff, but my brain works better when I know the actual reasons, the studies, the facts behind how this works. I've studied neuroscience. I have my degree in psychology, okay? I've always been fascinated by this stuff. Okay, the 6 levels of transformation, again, given by my guy Myron, okay? And then the 7 steps of achievement from Tony Robbins. Guess what both start with? Awareness, 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 awareness. I will scream this, because if you aren't aware, how can you address it? Like literally, if you don't know it's there and you become aware, it's like a subconscious program running in the back, and it literally controls your life, guys. But once you become aware of it, it's more like it's disconnected from you. Like this is over here and you're over here looking at it, okay? But until you become aware, you are one. It's running your life, running the show. You got to separate it and look at it from a bird's eye view, all right? Believing isn't knowing, right? You can believe something that's not true. Belief is all about your perceptions. There can be 2 people in a room looking at the exact same thing. Then you take them apart and say, what happened? What happened? They could tell you 2 completely different stories, but in their mind, they believe it. They seen it with their own two eyes. But like I said, the subconscious program is going to tell you what you see. Literally, it will tell you what you've seen. There's a thing called confirmation bias. You kind of throwing me off here a little bit, but this is important. Confirmation bias means that whatever you tell your brain is true, it will look in the environment and try to prove that you are right. All right. So if you say, oh, nothing ever works out for me, everybody hates me, your brain's going to look and say, where can I find stuff that won't work out for her? Where let me find people that are going to hate her, because this is what we know is true. Again, it wants the familiar. It wants you to feel safe with what you know. All right. So let's go ahead and let's get into our bodies. Let's kind of chill a little more, okay? The teaching part is over. I want us to do an exercise that I did and I found it to be very powerful, okay? So if you are in a place where you can do this, I want you to speak this out loud. Speaking it out loud definitely reframes and what's it called? I'm having a brain fart right now, but it pretty much reframes your nervous system, okay? When you speak it out loud, faster than if you just think it in your head, all right? So we're going to do an exercise called I Remember. Okay, this is going to help you activate your desires, bring you back to who you were before the world told you that's not good enough. You're not enough. You could never do that. Okay, bring yourself back to memories of who you were, your true inner self. All right, so let's take time. Just breathe a little bit, get back into your body. All right. Now, I want you to speak out loud things that really made you feel alive or like your true, authentic self or just happy. All right? So you can place your hand on your heart if you feel comfortable, or place them by your sides, whatever works for you. I remember being very empathetic. And these can be things that you did. They can be who you remember being, okay? Things that you did with family, by yourself, okay? I remember being an empathetic, loving, and emotional person. I remember talking to the trees, and we had one name. I named her Mother Earth. I remember being a little girl, looking for seashells on the beach, feeling so free and worryless. I remember when love was pure and unconditional. I remember. And if nothing's coming up, that's okay. This connection to your body, your inner voice, will take time if you've never practiced it before. So don't force anything. Don't get angry with yourself. Just say, I remember. Just repeat this out loud. I remember. And if you feel comfortable, put in the chat what is coming up for you. Something you remember doing or being. I remember being a healer and wanting to save animals. I remember wanting to nurse a kitten back to life that I found in my backyard. What are you remembering here? What is coming up for you? I'll give you a few more moments to finish up this exercise, and definitely feel free to repeat this anytime that you just want to connect to your inner voice. So as you finish speaking this or writing this, notice what happened, okay? You didn't create anything new. You just remembered and accessed what was already within you. And when life starts to hit us and, things happen that tell us that you can't do these things, you're not allowed to be that way, you can't feel that way, then our true inner voice gets pushed and stuffed down. This exercise allows that voice to come back up. And sometimes the things you remember when you're trying to remember the good things, the happy things, the person you were before, sometimes things that you don't want to remember comes up. Do not push that voice away. She wants to be heard, okay? We will work with that later in this video. So that remembering is not only in the mind, your body also remembers as well, okay? So now we're going to kind of let those memories sink lower, bring that down to the body, okay? We're not going to use our minds for this next practice. This will be more of a meditation, okay? And I really want you to focus on your body and what you're feeling. Any tensions that come up, any tweaks or anything that pops up, thoughts, even they will pop up because again, memories and emotions are stored also in the body, okay? So I'm gonna look here so I can read this meditation verbatim, okay? Let's begin. Begin by noticing your breath, not controlling it, just sensing where it naturally moves, okay? Is this in the throat, your chest, maybe your belly? Feel the weight of your body where you're seated, the support beneath you. Let your shoulders soften, unclench your jaw, relax your tongue, relax your hips and soften your pelvis. Bring your awareness inside, not to think, but to feel. Notice any sensations that are present right now: warmth, tightness, openness, numbness. Whatever it is welcome here. We want to listen to these parts of us now, okay? Now gently guide your attention into your lower body, into your pelvis, into your sacred womb space. Your life force energy resides here. We're not going to analyze her. We just want to sense what she has to offer, what this life force energy within us has to say. This space communicates differently than the mind. It doesn't always use words first. It uses sensation, emotion, and subtle signals. So we really have to be intentional here. Ask quietly within, what do you want me to know right now? You may receive a feeling, an image, a memory, or simply a sense of yes, no, or not yet. There's no need to force meaning here. Just allow, okay? If you notice any discomfort, tension, or resistance, see if you can meet it with curiosity instead of judgment, as if you're listening to something that's been waiting to be heard. You might ask, what are you trying to protect me from? What do you need from me right now? Now bring to mind one small desire, nothing big or dramatic, Just something that feels quietly true for you. Now notice how your body responds to this desire. Does it soften? Does it open? Does it pull back and create resistance? Or do things become clearer? Your body's response is information. This is intuition. This is communication. Okay, now let's wrap up here and take one more deep breath into the nose. Deep, deep belly breath here. Take it down. Hold and release. Let's do this one more time. Big, deep breath in and audible sigh, exhale. Okay, so let's thank our body for speaking to us. Even if we didn't hear anything, even if we didn't get the answers that we desired at this time, okay? This is the first step of practicing that connection to your inner wisdom, your womb space, and that divine energy within, okay? When you're ready, gently return your attention back to the room, back to the screen. You're not leaving this awareness. Make sure you put an intention to bring it with you. And you can tap into this intuition, this knowledge anytime. All right, this is called impeccable listening. All right, so now that we've done some inner work practices, we've done the I remember exercise, we've done a meditation to bring us back into our bodies. Now, this was a short period of time. You have to practice these inner work things multiple times so that way you can actually know what your inner voice sounds like. You can prime and tune the connection to your inner voice, okay? Now let's get into a couple journaling prompts, okay? Write these down, put it on the screen, put it in the chat what your answers are, okay? If you're comfortable. Some of this stuff might be like, I don't want to share, but I want to know what comes up for you guys. So when you were doing the meditation, what is your goal, okay? Get very specific here. Write out your desire. What is it? Is it I want to lose 15 pounds, 2 inches off my waist within 90 days. Specific, not, oh, I just want to get skinny or I want to lose weight. Get very specific. I want to start a marketing business for this kind of person within the next 60 days and build my website. Specific, not I want to start a business. Okay? Now, once you have that, write this down, okay? Get very specific. What is the goal or desire and why? So if it's I want to lose 15 pounds and 2 inches off my waist in 90 days. Why? Because I want to be a positive role model for my children. I want to feel comfortable and confident and sexy in my clothes. You know, what is the reason why? Okay? The next journaling prompt here is when you think of achieving your goals, what thoughts and feelings come up? Now put that in the chat. When you think of losing that 15 pounds, what comes up? Is it something good, which is great? Maybe it's like, yeah, girl, you can do this. Or is it something like in the back of your mind, like, you always say you're going to lose weight. You never do it, though. You're too lazy. The gym sucks. It's too hard. What thoughts come up there, okay? Put it in the chat. Hello, Darshi. Welcome in. Hello. Okay, now, when you think of that voice, what's the tone of this voice? Does it sound parental? Does it sound like your mom, your dad, your ex-husband, ex-wife, or current husband? Does it sound like some religious tone? You know, What is the tone of this voice that's coming to you? Put it down in the chat. What is the tone of this voice? Parental? Maybe it sounds like a meaner version of you. Okay? Now, last but not least, ask yourself, is this my voice? This is where the separation comes. If it is a negative voice or something that is not encouraging, ask yourself, is this my voice? Truly, if it is, then you know that you have been doing a lot of negative self-talk. But oftentimes this voice is created and comes from our past, okay? Experiences that we've had, trauma that we've had, other people who have implanted this voice, and you are the one in control, okay? Just because the voice is there, you are the voice now. You are the change, okay? You are the one that can make a difference. Either you keep replaying the voice over and over and over, strengthening that neural pathway, making it stronger and stronger, letting it run the show of your life, or you can say, this is not my voice. I cut it off, okay? And you create a new neural pathway. All right? So let's address a couple ways how we can stop this voice. Number one, again, I always talk about saying things out loud, okay? So you can literally, this is a practice that you can do. You can thank that voice and say, hey, thank you for trying to protect me, but I don't need you anymore. Okay, that is no longer my story, but thank you for, maybe you protected me in the past. So maybe in the past you tried something new and you failed, and you know, you lost people, you lost money, maybe you became homeless, and it was like, oh my gosh, and your brain's like, girl, never try anything new again. So next time you're like, oh, well, I want to try this new thing, that voice is just trying to protect you, and it's like, no, please don't do that. Remember what happened last time? You're gonna fail. This is gonna be horrible. You're gonna lose your money. Hey, thank you for trying to protect me, but that is no longer my reality. That is the past, and I am moving forward. But thank you anyway. Goodbye. Okay? Another way you can address this voice is to remind yourself. Say it out loud. That is not my voice. That is not my story. You have to interrupt it. You cannot just let it play. Every time it might be overwhelming in the beginning because that voice is so loud, that neural pathway is so strong, but you must interrupt it every single time. Every single time. I don't care if it's 50 times a day. You're going to say this 50 times a day then. And that over time, the brain is a use it or lose it organ. So if you do this over and over and over and over, that neural pathway is going to be like, okay, she's not believing us anymore. Let's weaken. And then pretty much it goes away, okay? But you can't just let that neural pathway break and fall away. You have to replace it with a new one, okay? And that is where affirmations and incantations come into play, okay? All right. So let's do a couple more prompts, and I need you guys to put them in the chat. What's coming up for you here, okay? So what would you do if there were no limits? Okay, I want you to like think the sky, beyond the sky, okay? If there were no limits. So let's stick with I want to lose 15 pounds, 2 inches off my waist so I can feel confident in my clothes. I can be a positive, healthy role model for my children and provide generational health, and well-being for my family, okay? So what would that look like if there was no limitations? I would go to the best gym. I would have a trainer. I would get like a massage and, you know, all these things, okay? So whatever your goal is, if there were no limits, what would you do, okay? How would you behave if you had no cares for how people perceived you? So if you didn't care what they were going to say about you, what your boyfriend was going to say, your mom, your family, your friends, if you didn't care at all, who would you become? Maybe you would be a little more feisty in your dark feminine energy. Maybe you'd be a little more sensual. Maybe you'd be a little more selfish. Who would you become if you didn't care about what people thought about you? There were no limits in life. What would you do, okay? What would you accept is an even better question, all right? Would you accept low effort? Would you accept breadcrumbs? Would you accept bare minimum if there were no limits that you placed on yourself? Okay? What would you accept? I would only accept the best. And I'm telling you that now, okay? I would only accept true effort and accountability, all right? So now, oftentimes we put our desire. So when you're writing your desire, put it in the now. We're not going to say I'm gonna, I will, I wanna, because that is another form of your brain, your nervous system trying to protect you. Because if your desire is in the future, then it can't really hurt us or anything. But when it's now, that puts the nervous system in like, oh shoot, this is happening now. Okay, so we don't want to put our desires in the future, because that is just another form of fear holding you back from your desire. I'll do it one day, and then one day never comes. What's that saying? The road to one day leads to a town called never. Okay, because it's never going to happen if you keep putting it in the future of one day, one day, one day. All right. Okay, so if you've missed it, we did a couple inner work practices already. Okay, so we're going to do one more before we close out soon. Okay, and I want you guys to do this with me. Put it in the chat what's coming up for you. Okay, the next practice we're going to do is called I've always had, okay? Because when we try to tell the brain like, oh, we have this, like say when you have an affirmation and you're like, I'm rich. Your brain's like, girl, who you trying to fool? Because it ain't me. You know what I mean? So we're going to do this exercise called I've always had. So if your goal is, like I was saying, we're just sticking to the same goal. I want to lose 15. I want to be healthy. I want to make healthier choices. Whatever your goal is, I want to start a business. I want to, whatever it is, okay? I want to shift my mindset. We're going to tell ourselves times in our lives where we have actually had this thing, where we have actually gotten a taste of that victory. And even if you haven't, I want you to say times that felt good. Okay, so it's, for example, so let's say it's about money. Okay, I've always had money. This is the exercise. Or I'm the type of person who's always had. Think of that time where you found that $50, or you got an extra bonus on your check, or you started a business and you did make some money. Okay, think of times in your life that actually confirm your desire, okay? See in your mind's eye, pull in, just like Tony talks about stacking, okay? We're going to stack these memories. We're going to stack these beliefs. You can pull it from the future. If your brain's having a hard time thinking of times where you have had money, think of a time, oh man, I know when I start this business, I'm going to make millions, okay? I can see myself right now. I see my checking account. It says, oh, I see mine right now. It says 500,000, okay? And when we do this stacking, we want it to be things that are somewhat believable to our nervous system, okay? So if 500,000 sounds like, oh girl, you lying to yourself, say $10,000, okay? $10,000 in my account. Whatever feels as a good, believable goal for you, okay? Because when it's believable, we're less likely to go back into survival mode, and our brain's going to try to fight us and pull us dragging, kicking and screaming back to our old beliefs. Okay, that's why we talk about micro habits. We want to take steps forward, but sometimes when we try to take huge steps, we put ourselves into survival mode, okay? Because the brain is like, this is too scary. No, let's sabotage and run away, all right? So we don't want to do that. Make it believable, okay? So I've always had money. I've always been the type of person who can make money easily. I remember that time where I started a business and I made $17,000 in 1 month, and then the next month I made $15,000. And these are things actually that I'm saying that are true for me, okay? So when you do this, it actually is not just pointless and we're just saying stuff. This is actually reprogramming your subconscious so that your desires are more believable, okay? You're less likely to go back into survival mode when you think your goal is achievable, all right? So now let's think, did any resistance come up? What are you feeling when you say, I've always been the person to have money? Did your brain say, girl, sit down, why are you lying to yourself? Or does it feel good in your body? Okay, listen to that. This is the point of this live, to really listen to your body, connect to your inner wisdom, and activate those desires, okay? We don't want to push away that voice that says, girl, no, you can't do that. We want to listen, like, where did that come from, okay? If that sounds like something that you want to do, again, I have free journaling prompts, 5 free journaling prompts that will really help you uncover those limited beliefs, those emotional blocks that keep you in those toxic cycles. Because again, the subconscious is running the show, the program. And if you don't address it, you're just going to be running on autopilot, guys. And we don't want to do that. We are the conductor of our lives here, okay? All right, so when we think of that emotion, even if it's something unpleasant, most of us try to do anything to avoid an unpleasant emotion. We don't want to feel sad, stressed, angry, rejected. We're just like, we will do anything to get rid of that feeling, okay? But again, science shows that if you allow at least, now this is a short amount of time, 90 seconds, to feel the feeling, allow it to move through and out of your body. But when we stop it and we try to immediately suppress it and do things to avoid it, it gets stuck in the body. It gets stuck, all right? So we want to allow 90 seconds to process this. Where did this come from? What is this trying to teach me? What is this trying to protect me from? Allow that 90 seconds so that way it doesn't get stuck in your body, all right? Okay, so and another important thing to add to that, just because we're allowing the feeling, the emotion, that does not mean we create a story behind it, guys, okay? We cannot make this our story. So if you're feeling rejected at this time, okay, I'm feeling rejected. Why is that? You are an objective viewer. You don't say, oh, well, I'm always rejected. Everyone rejects me. I'm just not lovable. That means you're creating a story around it, and stories is what guide your life. The stories you tell yourself are controlling your perception of life as well. You look so beautiful. Thanks for sharing all this. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Exactly, Diana. Diane. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. It looks like a very beautiful, unique name though. But yes, exactly. All right, so again, I think the biggest point after all that, don't make this your story. Feelings, you are not the emotion. Emotions come and go. That does not dictate who you are, all right? That is not your story. Just because you were rejected once, twice, maybe, that does not have nothing to do with your ability to be loved, okay? Just because something bad happened to you, somebody tried to take your power, that doesn't mean you are powerless, all right? That just means something happened to you that wasn't too good, but you can overcome it, all right? So we've went into our mind, we remembered who we were. We've brought this down, this remembrance down into our body. We allowed our body to speak because we often listen to the mind and we ignore our body, but they are both vitally important. And then oftentimes, especially if you are religious, sometimes you'll listen to the spiritual side, but you also ignore your mind or your body. All 3 must be in alignment, okay, here? Those are all important. So now that we've done all that, we've actually brought our desire to life. We've wrote it down. We come up with our why. Why do we want this, okay? We've looked at any resistance towards our desires and our goals. Now, we're going to actually make this our reality, okay? So how can you incorporate these aspects of yourself now? It's only 12 o'clock where I am. So I don't know what time it is for you, but we're not talking about tomorrow. Okay, I'll give you a pass. Watching this video is your what you're doing now, okay? But starting first thing in the morning, what can you do to activate your desire? How can you make that thing you've been avoiding that is actually going to better your life more pleasurable, more easy to access? Maybe you put your workout clothes, hang them up in front of your bed so when you wake up, they're right there. Maybe you put your journal on your nightstand right next to your bed so you don't forget to do your journaling at night. Maybe you start doing home workouts. Maybe you call that person who's going to set up your website and you do the action now. So that way tomorrow when you're not motivated anymore, too late, you already made the phone call. So now you're stuck, okay? Put in the action now. Now. Because the road to one day leads to a town called what? Never, okay? Okay. So again, how can we make it easier to access and more pleasurable? I got ahead of myself a little bit, okay? So I already talked about that. Now, finally, how can you change your environment to make this version of you feel easier? For example, get rid of the unhealthy snacks. If you're trying to lose weight, but you got a whole pantry full of chips, cookies, donuts, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're literally saying, let's just fail. Let's just throw the baby out with the bathwater because you're not setting up your environment for success. So go around your home, whatever your goal is, whatever's in your home, whatever's around you, people, music, social media, food, whatever it is that's around you that is pulling you away from your goal, remove it from your environment. I'm sorry about the lighting, guys. I have my window open. Let me close my... Okay, there, that's better. That's better. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, so what? Okay, last but not least, let's talk about detox. Now, when we think about detox, we often think about, oh, just detoxing foods or, drinking a green juice or taking a medicine to detox our gut. But detox from my spiritual mother, Queen Afua, I love her. She talks about detoxing your entire life. So you can detox from toxic relationships. You can detox from toxic environments. You can detox your body. Okay. You can detox spiritually. You can detox from social media. What in your life? And again, ask your body. It will surprise you literally how answers will come to you if you just sit in silence, place your hand on your heart or your belly, breathe and ask yourself, what do I need to detox from? And oftentimes we push down our intuition because it's something we don't want to hear. My intuition tells me stuff I don't want to hear all the time. And I'm like, dang, who's this talking? Because it sure ain't me. Because that is not what I want to hear right now. But your body will tell you, okay? And if you are religious, God will speak to you, okay? And part of that is your inner voice, all right? Okay, I lied. Now that we've talked about this, our closing exercise, okay? This one gets a lot of people, so make sure you're in a comfortable space, all right? And we are going to write this or say it out loud. I really love saying it out loud, okay? So what we're going to do... hand on heart, wherever you feel called to place your hands here, okay? And we are going to say, I forgive myself for buying into the misunderstanding that I am not enough. The truth is that I am more than enough, and that story is a lie that I've been told about myself. I am strong, I am resilient, and I am powerful. I forgive myself for buying into the misunderstanding that I am lazy, unworthy, and unfit. Because the truth is that I can do anything I put my mind to. I am strong. I can be healthy. Okay? I forgive myself for buying into the misunderstanding that, and fill in the blank, because the truth is, and fill in the blank. Now do this as many times as you need to on or off of this video, and you will feel the release, the connection, and the relief over your body once you forgive yourself for that. And again, this is reprogramming your subconscious to take that story and separate it from who you are at your core. Because these limiting beliefs, these emotional blocks came to you through trauma, through lived experience, okay? And it is not your true identity. Again, I forgive myself for buying into the misunderstanding that, because the truth is, now that concludes today's workshop, okay? Hopefully I see a lot of people in the chat. Thank you. I'm glad this was a positive experience for you. Come back and watch this video anytime that you need to. If you feel called to, after doing all of that energy work, that activation, connecting to your inner wisdom, you know, take a deep breath. If you want to clap, if you want to cheer, you know, if you want to activate your body in a more exciting way after that, your state determines your strategy, okay? So you want to get your state, you want to feel positive, you want to feel good. I know we were just relaxing, but pump yourself up. Yes, I'm going to activate my desires here. I'm going to reach my goals. Woo! Okay? So that is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for spending time with me, sharing your energy with me, and enjoying this space together. If you want to go deeper and you're like, yes, this was good, but something's still blocked, something's still stuck, there's something else I need to do here, okay? Again, my free journaling prompts, check out the description, go to my link tree. You will be able to sign up for my free email list. I send a lot of freebies, a lot of work, inner work practices. Also, I do a lot of work for the ladies around the luteal phase, the menstrual cycle, cycle syncing, and things like that, okay? So I do have my luteal phase relief guide for free as well. If you do the journaling prompts and you're like, great, now how do I release this stuff? How do I reframe? I know my limiting beliefs now. I know my emotional blocks now, but how do I transform them? I created the Life Blocks Decoded workbook. It's literally only $7, guys. But this will walk you through each and every one of your limiting beliefs and how to transform that into a way, a thought and a belief and an action that will benefit you today and not hold you back, but instead bring you closer to the version of you that you want to be, okay? Lots of fun things in there. Check it out, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Oh, if you have any questions, actually, let me not leave. Any questions? I see a lot of people still in there, but I'm not getting as much engagement. So I'm going to head out. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.